If you currently are transposing and you want, the keyword want, to make steps to start playing in every single key, I have a solution for you. I just dropped a new course called Learn the Chords for Every Key, and I'm going to walk you step by step through every major and minor key. You're going to learn the triads and 7 chords, and we're going to learn a song and apply those chords to the song, and we're going to manually transpose them to every single key. We care way too much about what other musicians say and think about our playing, and partly we are the blame as a culture. We only respond to musicians doing super crazy ideas and over the top things. And it makes musicians, especially people that are looking up to us, feel that I have to perform at a certain level to get attention. However, the fear is keeping us from moving forward. And once we are real with ourselves and realize that fear is holding us back, we can begin to make steps to move forward. I teach gospel, but I don't really go in depth with like the spiritual stuff. But there's a scripture that talks about that fear, right? It says, "For God gave us a spirit not of fear, but of power and love and self-control." The Bible is telling us what we need to do, right? It's giving us counsel, and yet we're not using it. Like, we are ministering to people through our skill set, and yet we're fearful. We either can deal with the fear or learn the tools to be able to play skillfully, which is also in the Bible, right? I challenge you to stop worrying about what other people think of your playing. Have confidence in what you can do and stop trying to impress others. God can move with triads. God can move with 7th chords. God can move with polychords, passing chords, right? Don't put God in a box. Don't put your own playing in the box. Once again, check out the free sample of viewing and preview or whatever. And if you guys want to take that next step, the link is in the description. Hey, what's up, y'all? Deyquan here. And in this video, I'm going to be teaching you guys the chords to C major and A minor. All right. So if you took the last course, you understand that certain major and minor scales share the same notes. And if that's the case, they also share the same chords, okay? What we're going to do in this video is learn the triads, and I'm going to teach you guys some of the 7th chords as well. So there's going to be a lot that you can take away from these videos inside this course, okay? If you remember from the last course, I said notes make scales, scales make chords, chords make chord progressions, and then those chord progressions make songs, okay? It's very important to understand that layer or that level, right? It's going to be very hard to retain the scales if you don't know where the notes are on the keyboard. And it's going to be hard to remember the chords if you don't know the scales, right? It's going to be hard to remember chord progressions if you don't know what chords are inside that scale, right? And then it's going to be hard to understand songs from a big picture perspective if you don't understand progression. So it all works together, okay? There's a process that you got to learn to be able to learn music more effectively and efficiently, okay? All right, so that's the core of music. And if you get that, you're going to be set, all right? So what we need to do and what we need to refresh on, rather, is the major scale, okay? The C major scale, okay? All right? We know that's the major scale. And if you go to the 6th note, you're going to play that relative minor. All right. We know that. And we know that the first chord of those scales are either the major or minor. So the first chord of C major is C major. The first chord of A minor is A minor. Okay. But you'll understand the minor chords if you get the majors. Okay. So don't worry about the minor right now. All right. So here's the formula. We have major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, right? That's the chord formula. We also know this as the number system, right? So for the 1 chord, right, it's going to be 1, 3, 5. And we're going to play all of these chords with the 1st, 3rd, and 5th finger, okay? So the 1 is major. So we have a C major, okay? C major chord. The 2 is a minor, and in this case, D is the 2 in the key of C, so it'll be D minor, all right? 3 is E, and that's going to also be minor, so it's going to be E minor, okay?
The 4 is major, so it's going to be F major. The 5 is G major. Okay. The 6 is A minor. Okay. And the 7 is the diminished chord. Okay. B, D, F. Right. A diminished chord looks like a minor chord. Okay. So what you can do to create a diminished chord is play a regular minor, B, D, F sharp, and then you can flat that 5 or bring that top note down a half step. All right. And you can check to make sure it's right by noticing the notes, the amount of notes in between each note in the chord. So between B and D, there's 2 notes, right? And then between D and F, there's 2 notes. Okay. So that's how you can know if you're playing the right diminished chord, right? All right. So remember, major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. Okay. So 1, 4, and 5 of the scale are major. 2, 3, and 6 are minor. And then that 7 is diminished. All right. So, and if we're starting from the 6, it's going to be minor, diminished, major, minor, minor, major, major, and then back to minor. Okay. So that's going to be the minor chords. You can look at the minor as its own thing, but it's best to relate it to the major scale at this level. All right. You want to make sure your left hand is doing it too. So we're going to play the chords at the same time. Start at C. The 1 is major. 2 is minor. 3 is minor. 4 is major. 5 is major. 6 is minor. 7 is diminished. All right. I don't know if I said it, but you'll also hear the term scale degree. All right. In this portion of the video, we're going to focus on the 7th chords. Okay. It's very important to master the triads. You know, a lot of students want to skip over the triads and want to go straight to the 7th chords and bigger. But if you realize how these chords are built, you'll understand that I need to make sure my triads are locked. Okay. A triad, for review, is just 3 notes. Okay. But guess what? The next biggest chord that you'll play are 7th chords, and those are 4 notes. But 3 of the 4 notes are from the chords that you already have played, right? So let me make this make more sense, okay? So we have a C major triad, okay? Here's a C major triad. Now here's a C major 7, okay? Pay attention to both chords. C major triad, C major 7. You see, the C major triad is in this C major 7 chord. So if you're going straight to the 7th chords without really understanding the triads, you're going to try to memorize 4 notes. But if you lock in those triads, all you have to remember is 1 extra note when you're learning your 7th chords. Okay. So that's why it's important to learn at least the fundamentals in this process. Okay. So without really breaking down so much what these 7th chords are, I'm just going to teach you what the 7th chords are for the scales. Okay. So the 1 is major 7, right? Because it's a major quality. So the 2 is a minor chord, but instead of being D minor, it's D minor 7. Okay. The 3 is E minor 7. All right. The 4 is F major 7 because the 4 is a major. The 5 is a dominant 7. So it's going to be G7 or G dominant 7, however you want to say it. The 7 is a little bit different. Okay, we'll go back to that later. The 6 is a minor, and in this case is A minor 7, right? The 7 is a diminished chord, okay? But this chord has a different name or multiple names. It's B minor 7 flat 5, right? Or it's B half diminished, okay? Not going to really break down the theory for that in this course, but it's just good to know the names, okay? Once you get the names down, once you get the shapes down in your hands, then you figure it out later, okay? So a major 7, right? Right, if you play that triad and then you add that extra note in the scale, it's the 7th note of the scale. So it's the 1st note, 5th, 3rd note, 5th note, and the 7th note of a scale, okay? And then a dominant 7 means you flat that 7th or you bring that 7th down. All right. So if you play your triad, that fifth note, if you count up 4 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's how you create the major 7. Now, okay? So if you play that triad and you count up 3, 1, 2, 3, that's a dominant 7, all right? Okay? Or it's just, if you think of odd numbers, right? It's the 1st, 3rd, 5th, and 7th, right? Those are all the odd numbers of a scale, or every other letter in the scale, right? Right? We're skipping every letter in the scale, every other letter. So that's how you build the 7th chord as well, okay? All right. So that's pretty much it with the major and dominant. So a minor, okay? It's like a minor chord, and you kind of do the same thing. If you play that 5th, and you go up 3, 1, 2, 3, you add that note, then you're going to play a minor 7, right? Or it's every other letter, or it's every other note in the scale, okay? We're moving each note up in the scale, all right? And then the diminish is like this chord, the minor, but you flat that 5, that 5th note, and you bring it down a half step. And that's that minor 7 flat 5, or that half diminished situation, okay? So that's a little bit on that, and I know I'm rushing that, but these are the 7th chords, and it's best to get the shape down in your hands first, and then figure out the theory later. So these are the chords for the C major scale and the A minor scale, all right? So take a moment and review that. Check out more information about this lesson below, and if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below, and I would love to see you practice this inside the community, all right? Take care.